First off tonight, George Cook is the longtime head softball coach at North Adams Jerome. Coach, how are you?
Excellent.
It's good to have you in. I can't believe we've never done this before, but I appreciate you making the time tonight. I know you guys just had practice and everything, and I appreciate you coming in. I want to thank Darren Kittle, who kind of got the ball rolling on this and kind of made you do this against your will, didn't he?
Oh, no, not impossible for that to happen. They shanghaied me in the dugout.
Darren said he was going to make you an offer you couldn't refuse. And George, what an incredible run here. You've been the head softball coach or the softball coach at North Adams for 38 years. Tell me a little bit about that history.
Well, it started the first year I was teaching there, 1976-77 school year, and I started out coaching football, and then I coached freshman basketball, and then near the end of freshman basketball, Al Williams came up to me and said, "George, I got a deal for you. We had a softball team, played 4 or 5 games the year before. We'd like you to take it over and build it up." And so I started that, and I got through that season. I told Al, "I'm not coaching freshman basketball anymore. I need a break between them. And besides, I like coaching outdoor sports. Yeah. Football, softball, we're outdoors. I'm a happy camper." Okay? So I've just been lucky enough over the years to have a lot of good people, and 4 with me today, okay, that played softball for me. I have one kid came back this year as a volunteer coach for the JV program. Tammy Kais was Tammy Carr when she played for me years ago. So she's just one of the many out there.
38 years as a head coach and so many good seasons along the way. I want to talk about some of those. But your background coming in, I mean, did you have any softball background? Did you know about the game when you started all those years ago?
Well, I played baseball in college, and the last year that I was in college, the summer before that, I played for the Stock Mill team out at Hillsdale Fairgrounds. I was the catcher there. And we had a pretty decent team, had a good time, okay? And then I played 1 year when I got to Detroit in the summer league, and there was only 10 teams in the whole league, in one league in the whole city of Detroit. There was fast pitch. It was a little disheartening. I thought it was going to be a lot more teams than that around, and it just wasn't. So, but that's how I got my start in fast pitch.
So you had the background. You come in. Now, this was in the 70s, 38 years as the head coach. You took over. The team actually had started. There was one season before you came in and took over.
Correct.
And then you had some health issues a few years ago and sat out one season.
Right.
So those are the 2 you missed in 40 years.
Correct.
That's an incredible run. One thing that North Adams has done, and we'll get back to your coaching career in a minute, but just kind of a comment. Gary Beach was your basketball coach forever. You've had Darren Kittle was your volleyball coach for a long, long time. Your son Brian's been the head football coach forever. You've been the softball coach for 40 years or 38 years. I mean, the continuity in these sports programs at North Adams, you don't get that everywhere, do you?
No, you don't. And I keep saying it's the people you deal with. And like I said, here's an example.
Right.
These 4 right here. They may be a little crazy, but they're good. But they're good people. They are good people. So I've been really blessed over the years with a lot of good people.
I want to talk about some of those people. You've been coaching, like we mentioned, for 38 years. You've had hundreds of players over the course of that time.
Yeah.
Who are a couple of the best softball players that George Cook has coached?
Well, let's see here. I probably would pick Stephanie Owens as one. Okay, she was a great pitcher for me. There was one tournament one year we played out at in Jonesville. She pitched 5 games in one day, and we won the tournament. Okay, 5 games in one day. And she was a heck of a hitter, too. And bunt defense was easy. She'd pitch the ball, and the first baseman and the third baseman stayed back because they bunted. She was so fast, you got to throw them out at first. They never had to worry about anyone coming in. They just played their own position. Heck with them. She would be one. Another really good one would be, I'm trying to remember her name, Desiree Morrison. That would be another really, really good one. Okay,
and she's here today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right.
One of our best pitchers all time would have been Miss Davis, okay, who pitched for us. She had what I called daggers in her heart. She was not afraid to throw inside. And if she accidentally hit you, she accidentally hit you. But she didn't want to. Okay.
What's the most or the farthest you've gotten with one of your teams in the tournament?
We've gotten to the regional finals. that's as far as we've got.
And probably some league titles and all of that too.
Well, a couple league titles and districts along the way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't bother. They got them on a little. How many?
4 years in a row.
Oh, we got 4 years in a row, but they're talking about over the course of time. Okay.
So you've won 4 straight league championships at North Adams in
Correct.
softball.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. How's the game changed since the 70s? Obviously.
The game has changed because the players are better.
Okay.
The players are better than they were, 30 years ago. And you can say the same thing in a lot of other sports as well. You know that. The kids just have more and more opportunity to get better, okay? And so softball is just the same thing as football and basketball and baseball. The kids are really want to be good. They work harder at it. They spend more time at it. And so that's just true of all sports, okay, right along the line.
George Cook's the softball coach at North Adams. They've won 4 straight league titles coming into this year and looking for another one. They're ahead of the SCAA right now with a 9-1 record, 12-5 overall, and they've got a matchup coming up Friday at Climax Scotts that we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. You mentioned all of those great teams, all of those great players. I have to think back in the 70s, the second year of the history of the North Adams softball program. You're the coach. I mean, did the kids even understand what to do? Did they even know where to go?
Oh, yes, they did.
Even back then?
Even back then.
Yep.
There was summer programs that kids would play in, and so we had some good kids there. In fact, that team that I had was populated by a basketball team that eventually, the next year, the girls, as seniors, went to the state finals. They lost in the state finals, but we had some real good athletes. Penny Neer being one of them at the time. Okay, she, when you talked about best players, she hits balls farther than anybody I've ever seen play softball. When she hit them, they just kept going. I mean, there was no fences. They'd go out of baseball parks. She hit them, they were gone. End of story. She was that good.
Turned out Penny was a decent athlete.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. With the Olympics, Pan American Games and track, but not a bad athlete. But when she hit them, they were gone.
I've coached against you probably 13 years when I was coaching down in Camden in football. I've seen you coach guys before. Do you change anything when you're coaching the girls, or is it the same approach?
Well, they call me Mr. Sweet and Wonderful. Okay. And I keep telling them you have to look at the first 3 letters, S-A-W, SAW. So the girls, my wife says, my first wife and my cousin say that I'm a little nicer to them. She can't believe it. I don't think I am, but she thinks I'm a little nicer to them overall. But not that I'd ever yell at them or anything like that, ever.
You've got a voice that will carry for miles. I mean, you really do. It's one of those signature voices that can carry for miles and miles. Katie, does Coach ever get a little bit loud even with you guys?
Yeah, just a little bit at times when we make way too many errors.
You can get a little frustrated even now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Katie Dasboy is the #1 pitcher for North Adams. She's a senior. Let's bring her in here. Obviously, 9-1 league season, 12-5 overall. Take a look at your year so far. What's one win so far that kind of stands out that you're really proud of?
Camden. They're a tough team to play. The first game we had a couple mistakes, but we really pushed through to get that extra point to win. So.
And you were able to do it. You split with them, right?
Yep.
And now they also lost one other game. You haven't lost any other league games. So Friday, Coach, against Climax, as far as the league goes, is somewhat important. If you're able to sweep Climax Scotts, you have a really good chance to win the league, right?
Oh, yeah, it'd be nice to sweep them, but we got to win the first one first.
Take care of the first one first. That's absolutely
always
right.
my motto.
Desiree Morrison, you had a goal coming into the season. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
My goal is beating my home runs from last year. I had 19 last year, and I'm at 8 right now.
You had 19 home runs last year.
Yes, I did. The sophomore year, I had 15. And it was my goal last year to beat 15.
I don't know who I was talking to, George. Actually, this whole thing didn't happen because of Coach Cook. It happened because of you. I heard about you hitting all of these home runs, and somebody said, "Why have you not had Desiree Morrison on the radio?" And I had no answer for that. I had no reason. I didn't realize you had 19 home runs last year. That's incredible. How do you do it?
Work hard on it. Practice.
What is it? Is home run hitting, there's an art to it. It's not just brute strength, it's timing and everything else.
It is.
Can you, I know you don't want to give away all your secrets, but what's the approach that you have for hitting home runs? How are you able to do it?
Keep your chin down, when you're going to hit the ball, squish the bug and swing your hips. Got to put all your hips into it.
So do you swing as hard as you can?
No, not really.
You just time it up?
Time it up. It's more the pitcher's power, too, that gets it, too.
Do you have a hitter-friendly park at North Adams? Is it a shallow
No.
fence, or do you have to bomb it?
You have to bomb that one.
Where do they go, left, right, or center?
Everywhere.
You spray it.
Yeah.
You spray it all over the place. You have 8 home runs this year, 19 last year, and how many? 15 your sophomore year?
Yeah.
So you expect to hit a few more before it's all said and done, right?
Yes. Way more.
Cassie, what's that like when Desiree just bombs one and maybe a couple of runners on base? Does that fire everybody up?
Well, maybe, because like I have a pinch runner that goes in for me because I'm really slow. So when Des hits a home run and I'm on base, it's like she almost has to pick me up and carry me to get to home plate. So
I'm right there behind her as soon as
Yeah.
she gets home.
she's like right on my tail.
Cassie, what do you guys do? I mean, it seems like you guys are really close friends, and obviously you've had an incredible season, 9-1 in the league. What do you guys do for sort of team bonding?
Well, we all lay in the middle of the field like a dog pile. And we like have heart to hearts. We just lay there and we kind of like just talk to each other and like chime in whenever we want to. And it's just like all our teams, we're like sisters. We're really close.
You're the catcher. Obviously, Katie Dasboy is usually pitching. Do you have to develop a chemistry with her to kind of work together like that during a season?
Well, yeah, it helps that she's my best friend. And like we have to know each other's signs and we have to know like, yeah, just basically.
Coach, I'm going to show my ignorance right now about the game of softball. I mean, are there different pitches that you throw in softball at the high school level, and do you call them in? How does that work?
Katie throws 5 or 6 different pitches. You know, fastball naturally. Okay, she has a drop and a change, and curve and cutter, and what else?
Rise.
And rise. Okay. So I personally always like my catchers to call games. Okay, I was a catcher all those years I played, and I love calling the game. But we have Mr. Ball, Pops. He sends pitches in, but there are games I just let Katie and Cassie go get it.
Would you rather have Coach call them in, or would you rather call it yourself, Cassie?
Sometimes I call them in, but usually I let the pitcher call them.
No, the pitcher calls the pitches.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
I've learned from past pitchers that I worked with and coaches. They kind of give me all this information. I kind of, write it down, keep it in my head, and then when I'm in a certain situation, I know what to do.
I've never heard of this before. So you signal the pitch into your catcher.
No, she
I
doesn't
just
signal
kind
it.
of throw it, and
She
she
does
catches
it.
it.
I've caught her for many years.
So you don't need to
Yeah.
know what she's throwing.
Not usually. No.
Okay, all right.
I've caught her for many years.
Well, see,
It's
he's a
just
young
easier to
whippersnapper.
catch her.
Yeah.
If he knew what I knew back in the 50s, there was a pitcher for the New York Yankees called Ryan Dern. He could throw 100 miles an hour, but he couldn't see to that wall. So he had to tell the catcher what he was throwing all the time. And that was in the major leagues.
So that happens.
Yeah, well, that happens. So that's not a new thing.
Amanda Adams is over at shortstop. What's it like to play for Coach Cook? Obviously, he's kind of a legend over there at North Adams. Just to let everybody know, I'm not trying to embarrass you, Coach, but when it was announced that we were doing this interview, I got so much feedback on Facebook and social media. People really excited to hear from you. People have been playing for this guy for like 4 decades now. I mean, it's really special, and he's got a lot of people that have enjoyed playing with him and being around the program. What's it like for you guys now in 2015 to have Coach Cook here and to play for him, Amanda?
I don't really know about the football guys, but for us, I think everyone could agree that he's basically like another grandfather to us.
Mhm.
He's
We all,
very big role model for all of us.
He does a lot for us.
not even just in softball. If we need help in school, home life, he'll do anything just to help us to get on our feet, help us train better. We all love him.
Well, I can tell. I mean, that comes through in everybody that you talk to about it. And Desiree, when you hear him say in 38 years of coaching that you're one of the best players he's ever had, that's got to be a nice feeling too, right?
It is. Kind of melts my heart, kind of.
And you've earned it. I mean, you've
Oh,
had
yeah.
incredible seasons and all the rest of it. Any college aspirations for you, Desiree?
Jackson College.
So you're going to play ball next year for them?
I I'd love to.
Well, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it. Friday at Climax Scots, Coach, I know you're just concerned about the first game against them. What do you know about them? Do you scout teams at all, or do you just go in and worry about what you guys do?
Well, most of the time I would just worry about what we do. The scouting part that we have about Climax, since they're a league opponent, they've been a young team for the last couple of years, so they've been getting better every year. Okay, they have 2 sets of twins, the Swagger twins and the McCumber twins. Okay, the Swagger twins hit the ball hard, and the McCumbers are grease lightning out there. So you have to play both sets on them. Okay, they're really good.
I understand they have a great baseball facility. Is their softball field really nice too?
Their softball field and their baseball field are both in the same spot they've always been in.
Really?
Ever since I started coaching. Okay, softball field's always been at the very back end of the lot, and baseball diamond's out in the front of the school.
Yeah.
and originally it was a baseball football complex. They tried the football field out of there and just made it pure baseball. So, but the softball is a good facility, very good facility.
The girls have fun on the bus rides, Coach?
Now we get to the best part of it. I told them about 4 years ago I was not riding the cheese wagon again. So I get to drive, and I take the equipment in my car, and I follow behind the bus.
Oh, you don't even ride the bus?
No, I am not riding the cheese wagon. No.
We sing to it.
Are you on the bus with the baseball players?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
One side and the other.
I bet that's really entertaining. You're probably making a smart choice, Coach.
Oh, yes.
I always sit in the back so I can make faces at him when he's behind us.
And as soon as he gets tired of being behind us, you can all of a sudden just see him
go
zooming
fast.
really fast past us.
That's
You've
about
got-
30 seconds into the ride.
You've got Climax Scots at Climax Scots Friday night, a 4 o'clock doubleheader against them. So districts are coming up when?
May 29th, we play on a Friday, and the draw was this week. We got Camden in the first game at 12 noon. Second game is Pittsford and Waldron. And then the winners would play about 2 o'clock, about 4 o'clock. Okay.
Have you over the years, we're talking with George Cook and the North Adams softball team, have you over the years developed rivalries with certain teams, teams that were close to you and you really had great matchups with, or has it kind of come and gone over the years?
Some has come and gone, but the two that really stand out have always been Pittsford and Camden.
Right.
Okay, those have been the two, close in the county.
It's kind of nice to have those old school SCAA rivalry games. The league has changed so much, especially in football. To have teams like that are still close and able to play has got to be cool.
It is. It really is. There's a lot of history there and a lot of good people on both sides over the years.
The way that the state retirement works for teachers, if you accumulate 30 years, you can retire with a pension and benefits and all the rest of it. You hit 30 years a few years ago, George, and you could have retired, and I asked you about it before we went on the air, and you said you don't even think about it.
No,
and why not? What keeps you going?
I just don't think about it. I've always said that if you don't like what you're doing in your job, then it's time to get out of it, one way or another. Okay, either change jobs because you don't like it. You need to keep working. But if you don't like it, go find something else to do. I've been offered other things to do. And I always said, why would I leave somewhere where I'm having a great time and great things are happening with great people, and go somewhere else? I like it there. End of story.
They had practice earlier. They have a big matchup against Climax Scots coming up on Friday. The districts starting with Camden Frontier at noon at Camden on Friday, May 29th. North Adams Jerome 9-1 in the conference, 12-5 overall. George Cook enjoying his 38th year, and it sounds like he's just getting started with North Adams Jerome softball. Thank you all so much for being here, and good luck the rest of the way.
Well, thank you very much. Okay.